Welcome to Lento Business English. Ready to level up your business English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. Mercedes-Benz is a very famous car company in the world today. Many people think of its cars as expensive and luxurious. It is one of the biggest and oldest car companies, but it is easy to forget its beginning. The company had a very simple start a long time ago. The story starts with a man named Carl Benz. He was an engineer. Carl Benz did not come from a rich family. He was poor and faced many problems when he was young. He had a big dream to build a vehicle that did not need a horse. At that time, all vehicles on roads were pulled by animals. Carl's idea was new and different. Many people around him had doubts. They thought building a car without a horse was impossible or not useful. Carl Benz faced many difficult moments and problems as he tried to make his dream real, but he kept working. He put his ideas into practice. He built what is now known as the first car in the world. This car used an engine to move, not a horse. After building the first car, Carl Benz started a company. This company began to make these new vehicles. It became the first big company to produce cars for many people to buy. This was a very important step for the world. This happened in the late 1800s. The company had great success and grew very large. However, the story of Mercedes-Benz is not only about success. Later, the company faced difficult times. There was a surprising and sad part during a period of war and problems in the country. This book will tell you the complete story of Mercedes-Benz. It will tell you about its simple start, its growth, and the challenges it faced. It is the story of how the company became famous. And it is also the story of Carl Benz, the engineer who had the dream to build the first car and changed the world. 2. A boy's early life. Carl Benz was born in November 1844. His home was in Germany in a town called Mannheim. His family did not have much money. They were poor. His father worked on trains as a locomotive driver. His father's job did not bring much money home. When Carl was only 2 years old, his father died. This was a very hard time for his mother and Carl. They had very little money. Carl sometimes went to bed hungry. Carl's childhood was not easy because they were poor, but his mother wanted him to have a good education. She worked very hard so Carl could go to school. Carl was a smart boy in school. He learned quickly. He was especially good at science and understanding how machines worked. When he was 15, Carl decided he wanted to be an engineer. He passed the test to go to university in Karlsruhe. There, he met a teacher named Ferdinand Redenbacher. This teacher was very important for Carl's future. He thought that steam engines, which were common for trains and boats at that time, would soon be old. He believed new ideas were needed for movement. Because of this teacher, Carl became very interested in the idea of machines that could move without horses. He liked riding his bicycle. He started thinking about putting a motor on a bicycle. Before Carl, many people had tried to build cars. They made machines that could move by themselves. But these early machines were not very practical or easy to use for everyday travel. Carl saw that these early cars often used old engine technology, like steam. His teacher's ideas helped him realize that a completely different kind of engine was needed for a truly useful car. Karl finished university when he was 19 years old. After university, he worked in different jobs for 7 years. He worked in engineering and building. He used these years to learn and prepare for his own ideas. 3. First steps in business. Karl Benz started a new business in 1871. He opened an iron foundry and mechanical workshop in Mannheim with a partner, August Ritter. Karl also worked on his idea for a motorized carriage at the same time. He thought having a partner would help him run the main business. But the first year was very difficult. Ritter was not a good partner. The business had many problems and their tools were taken away by the local authorities. The company struggled greatly. Luckily, Karl had met a woman named Bertha Ringer. Bertha came from a wealthy family and had strong beliefs. She saw how hard Karl worked and did not want his efforts to be wasted by his partner. Bertha and Karl got married later. Bertha decided to use her own money, her dowry, to help Karl. She bought Ritter's part of the company. Now Karl and Bertha were in full control of the business together. They worked hard to improve the situation and keep the business going for the next 10 years. During this time, Karl could focus more on his engine ideas. He showed his great talent in his experiments. In 1879, he made a big step. He successfully developed a gasoline two-stroke engine. This engine was much better for a car than old steam engines. To earn more money for the business, Karl started to patent his inventions. He patented many important parts. These included his engine speed control system, an ignition system using a battery, the spark plug, the carburetor, the clutch, the gearshift, and a water radiator. With these patented designs, Karl was getting closer to making his dream of a car without horses a reality. These inventions also gave the business more products to sell. However, the business was still not doing as well as Karl hoped. The costs for his development work were very high. The banks that supported the company demanded changes. In 1882, the business had to become a joint stock company. This meant Karl had to take on other investors. He ended up owning only 5% of the company's shares. This change also meant he lost his important position and his influence. The new owners did not listen to his ideas for new products. Karl was very frustrated and hurt by this. In 1883, he left the company. Leaving was hard, but it made him even more determined to succeed. 4. Making the first car. After Karl left his first company, he felt sad but was still strong in his dream. He loved bicycles, and this interest helped him find new friends and partners. He met 2 men, Max Rose and Friedrich Wilhelm. They owned a shop that fixed bicycles in the city of Mannheim. Together, Karl, Max, and Friedrich started a new company. They called it Benz and Cie. This company made machines for factories and also gas engines. The new company did well. It made good money quite fast. With money coming in, Karl could now focus on his main goal, building a car. Karl decided to use his gas engine for the car. He did not just put an engine onto a car made for horses. Instead, he built the car around the engine. He used ideas and technology from bicycles to help him. In the year 1885, Karl finished his first car. He named it the Benz patent Motorwagen. The Motorwagen looked different. It had 3 wheels, not 4. It had seats for 2 people. The engine was small, but it worked. It could make the car move by itself. Carl tested the car and made it better. In the summer of 1886, Carl drove his car in public for the first time. People saw it on the street. They had different thoughts about it. Some people were interested and thought it was amazing, but many others were not sure or were even scared. They worried that the car might blow up. Some people thought Carl was doing something bad. Carl's partners, Max and Friedrich, were also not happy about the car. They thought Carl spent too much time on it. They did not think the car was useful. They said it was too slow. They also said it could break easily. They did not see why anyone would want to buy such a machine, but Carl believed strongly in his idea. He was sure that cars without horses were the future. 5. A famous road trip. Carl Benz started making cars to sell in the year 1888. He was the first person in the world to do this. His wife Bertha was always his biggest helper and supporter, but many people still did not believe in the car. They thought it was not good. They used cars only for very short trips. If something went wrong, they needed a mechanic nearby. The cars were also very expensive, so only rich people could buy them. But even many rich people did not like the cars. They were loud and made the road dirty. Bertha Benz wanted to show everyone that the car was useful and could travel far. One morning in the summer of 1888, she had an idea. Carl was still sleeping. Bertha decided to take the car. She took her 2 sons, Eugen and Richard, with her. They started a secret trip. Bertha did not tell Carl or the police. She knew they would say no. Her plan was to drive 66 miles to the town of Pforzheim. This was where her mother lived. No car had ever driven so far before. The trip was not easy. The roads were made for horses, so they were dusty and bumpy. When the car needed more fuel, Bertha had to stop at a pharmacy to buy it because there were no gas stations. The car also had some small problems on the way. Bertha used her hands to fix them herself. The journey took a very long time, over 12 hours, but finally Bertha and her sons arrived safely in Pforzheim. They sent a telegram to Carl to tell him they were safe. This trip was very important. It showed people that the car could travel a long distance. It was useful for more than just short rides. The story of Bertha's trip became famous. The Benz Motorwagen got a lot of attention. This helped Carl's business grow much bigger. 6. Cars get better and faster. Benz and Cie became a big company quickly. By 1890, it was the second largest company in Germany that made engines. Most of their success came from engines for factories and other machines, not so much from cars at first. 2 new people joined the company, von Fischer and Julius Ganz. They were good at managing the business and marketing. This was helpful because Carl Benz could then spend more time on his engineering ideas for cars. He worked on improving car parts. He invented a new system for steering cars. He also developed a new type of engine and a better way to change gears. He got patents for these ideas. Carl designed new cars. In 1893, he made the Benz Victoria. This car was an improvement. It could carry 2 people and had a 3-horsepower engine. It could go faster, up to 11 miles per hour. People liked its reliability and it sold quite well. Then he made a cheaper car called the Benz Velo. This car became very popular. About 1,200 Benz Velos were made in total. This was a very large number for that time. The Benz Velo became the world's first car made in large numbers. Because of this success, Benz and Cie became the biggest car company in the world during the 1890s and early 1900s. However, another company was also growing and making cars. This was Daimler Motorengesellschaft, called DMG. Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach were clever engineers and led DMG. Their cars started to look more attractive and comfortable for people compared to Benz cars. In 1901, DMG made a very important new car called the Mercedes 35 HP. This car was special because it was the first car that looked much like the cars we use today. It had a strong engine and a lower body. A rich man named Emil Jelinek asked DMG to build this car. He decided to name the car after his daughter Mercedes. The Mercedes car was very fast for its time, reaching speeds up to 56 miles per hour. It won many road races. Because of this success, DMG started to call all their cars Mercedes cars. At Benz and Cie, Carl's partners saw how well the Mercedes was doing, especially in races. They wanted to make faster cars too, to compete. They hired some designers from France to help create a new, faster car. They did this without Carl's agreement. Carl Benz did not like car racing at all. He thought driving very fast was noisy and dangerous on public roads. The new race car designed by the French team for Benz was not successful in races. This caused problems for the Benz company between 1903 and 1904. Carl was unhappy with these decisions and the problems. He decided to leave the company's daily management, but he stayed as a member of the board of directors. Later on, Carl agreed to let his company's cars compete in races. It turned out that racing success actually helped the Benz company. By 1908, Benz had a powerful race car. In 1909, they built an even faster race car called the Blitzen-Benz. In 1911, this car set a new world speed record. It went faster than any other vehicle, including planes and trains, at over 140 miles per hour. This made the Benz name famous again, just like Daimler's Mercedes. Both companies were now seen as makers of desirable cars and had good sales in the following years. 2 companies become one. The world changed a lot when the First World War started. It affected people's lives everywhere. The war also made the economy weak. After the war, Germany lost. The economy in Germany became very bad. Many companies had problems. The Benz company and the Daimler company both struggled. They were rivals before, but now they both needed help. In 1924, the 2 companies made a decision. They decided to work together. They signed an agreement. This agreement said they would share things. They would share how they made cars. They would share how they sold cars. They hoped this would help them save money. At first, they kept their own company names. But the economy in Germany did not get better. It got worse. Because of this, the companies had to do more. In 1926, they were forced to become one company. The 2 companies merged completely. The new company had a new name. It was called Daimler-Benz. Now the cars they sold had a new brand name. They were called Mercedes-Benz. The new company started making new cars. These cars were very good. They were successful in the late 1920s. A very important engineer worked there. His name was Ferdinand Porsche. He helped make the new cars. Carl Benz was still part of the company. he stayed on the board of directors. He was able to see how successful the cars became. He saw how much the car industry had grown. He saw his dream had become very big. Carl Benz died a few years later. He passed away in April 1929. He was 84 years old. After he died, the company continued to grow and make famous cars. 8. Hard times and new success. After Daimler-Benz became one company, it continued to get bigger. In 1933, Adolf Hitler became the leader in Germany. Hitler wanted to show the world how good German machines and technology were. He decided to support Daimler-Benz in car racing to do this. Mercedes-Benz race cars were very fast and won many big races between 1934 and 1939. They raced against another German company called Auto Union. Auto Union also won some races during this time. These racing successes showed that Germany was strong in making cars. Hitler often used Mercedes-Benz cars himself. One car he used a lot was the Mercedes-Benz 770, a large, fancy car used by important people in the government and army. This car was a symbol of power. But in 1939, World War II began. This changed everything for Daimler-Benz. People stopped buying regular cars. The company started making machines for the war effort. They made trucks, tanks, and engines for airplanes for the German army. By 1942, they stopped making cars for people completely. All their work was for the war. As the war continued, the company needed more and more workers. Many men were away fighting in the army. Daimler-Benz started using forced labor. These were people who were made to work and could not leave. The workers included soldiers captured in the war, people taken from their homes in other countries, and people from concentration camps. These workers lived in very bad places near the factories. Their living conditions were poor, like in a prison. Many of these workers died because they did not have enough food, were treated badly, or were hurt. By 1944, almost half of all the people working for Daimler-Benz were forced laborers. There were about 63,000 employees then, so this was a very large number. When the war ended in 1945, Germany lost. Daimler-Benz had problems. Countries took away the company's property and businesses in other countries as a payment for the war damage. The company had to start again in Germany. Daimler-Benz changed its leaders and removed people who supported the old government. They got permission to start making vehicles again in 1946 from the American Army in Germany. Their factories were damaged from bombs during the war. The company started making vehicles that were needed right away, like ambulances for hospitals, police cars, and small trucks for deliveries. These were based on their old car designs. They slowly started making passenger cars again in 1947. Only about 1,045 cars were made that year. But even with these problems, Daimler-Benz made money again by 1948. The company came back very strongly in the 1950s. Their cars did well in races again, and they sold many cars all over the world. Mercedes-Benz became a very valuable and famous car brand globally. This success showed the strength of the company, built on the dream and hard work of Carl Benz, who wanted to build the first car without a horse many years before.